Welcome back to the Edmond School District Automotive Training Center. This is Hot Rod High School. In today's episode, we're going to take a look at this Ethos Edge snap-on scan tool, and we're going to do some real basic testing with it, just taking a look at codes and data display here in this 2008 Acura. So coveralls on, safety glasses on. Let's go to work. Okay, because the key is going to be in the on position, the scan tool does use battery voltage. We're going to go ahead and plug in one of these battery maintainers to make sure that we don't run the car out of power. So just red one goes on to the positive side, black one over here onto the negative side, and then just plug it in to our outlet here. And now we can perform our test. So I'm here underneath the dashboard of the vehicle, down just below the steering wheel to the left of the brake pedal. And that's where our 16-pin connector is to hook up our scan tool. So it's actually on this vehicle. It's not clipped into its little bracket, so it's just dangling here. We see that we got this little shape 16-pin connector, and it's the same as the shape on the connector that's on the scan tool. So we'll just go through and plug our scan tool in to the connector. And one thing you'll notice too is if like the last person who used the scan tool forgot to plug it back in, no big deal, because the vehicle the battery power is supplied through two of the connectors here in the 16-pin data link connector. And so even if it's not charged up, you can use the battery voltage to power up the scan tool. So the key needs to be turned to the on position in order for us to get our scan data. Doesn't necessarily need to be running, just turn to the on position. So I'm going to just put the key in, turn to that on position. I know that we're in the on position because all those lovely lights and indicators came on in the dashboard. And so now we are ready to perform the scan test on this vehicle. So now that I am hooked up to the data link connector with the key in the on position, I can begin the process of scanning this vehicle. So I'm going to hit this first little button right here that says scanner and choose my vehicle. This is an Acura, so I'll choose Acura. So now that we got through a little registration screen there, it tells me to select yes to scan a real vehicle or no to continue in demonstration mode. We're just going to go ahead and hit yes. Real vehicle, and we can automatic ID or manual ID. One thing to keep in mind is that you can use these toggle switches to highlight the different areas. And then if you just hit this little, you can press it on the screen, or you can hit this little Y button here to do the automatic ID. And so it's entering our vehicle information, and yep, it has the VIN number reading out. It's telling us this is a 2008 Acura TSX. It's telling us the engine. So yeah, this is all the correct information. So we'll go ahead and click OK on that one. Okay, and now we can take a look at all the different items in here. We can look specifically at the engine or transmission or the brakes, the airbag, or we can just hit code scan and take a look at all those. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the engine right now. So we're in our engine menu. We can look at codes. We can look at data. Let's start off with taking a look at engine codes. And we could take a look at permanent codes or temporary ones. We'll take a look at permanent codes first. No codes present. And then just hit the N button to back out. Now we can toggle down to temporary codes, hit the Y button. And because the vehicle's battery have been disconnected, we don't have any codes present at this time. So we'll hit the N button, back out of this, hit the N button again, Now we're back into that main menu for the engine, and we can take a look down here. I'm going to go and toggle down into this section that says data, hit the Y button, and we got all sorts of different data we can look at: powertrain, fuel and intake, misfire, emissions, accessories. We'll go ahead and take a look at powertrain data. So that one's highlighted. I'll just hit that Y button. And now all of our different engine data information is being displayed. And this is just obviously engine data while the engine is, we have the key in the on position, but the engine not running. And obviously this data would change quite a bit if we had the engine running. And then things like air, fuel, and the O2 sensor data is going to change further once the engine gets up to operating temperature. But that is the basic gist of using a scan tool to look for codes and data display on this vehicle. So at this point, you can carefully and gently unplug the scan tool and exit out and power it down. And you can also turn the key to the off position in the vehicle. Don't want to leave the key on because that will drain the battery.